We have a marvellous ability to learn new things, so it's not surprising that sayings that are associated with knowledge and wisdom have crept into our day-to-day language. Here are the top 10. Number 10. Now, if thinking burned calories, this phrase would be a full buffet. It's our go-to saying when we pause and reflect, which is food for thought. It was first recorded in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar in 1605, where the phrase compares ideas to nourishment, suggesting the mind needs feeding just like the body. Later, it reflected a long-standing metaphor in philosophy where knowledge is treated as sustenance for intellectual growth. Today, we might say something is food for thought that identifies something that makes us pause and reflect on something. Potentially a podcast or documentary that makes us change our mind on a certain matter or even change a habit. Number 9. Now this phrase could come to mind if we're trying to explain to our parents the benefits of social media. It's that old, timeless saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Now, dating back to the 1500s, this proverb came from literal dog training, where older dogs were considered harder to retrain due to ingrained habits. It reflects early observations about behavioural rigidity that comes with age. Today, we could refer to the saying, can't teach an old dog new tricks, in a somewhat jokingly manner when we describe people who tend to resist change, like someone who refuses to adopt new tech or even new methods. Number 8. Now, if only this piece of clothing came with inbuilt Wi-Fi and instant answers. We're talking about putting on your thinking cap. We might use this saying when in a situation where we need to tackle a tricky problem. Now, this phrase likely emerged in the 19th century, where the phrase connects hats, which are symbols of profession or intellect, with mental effort. It implies consciously switching into that problem-solving mode. We continue to put on our thinking caps into the modern age where we need to solve complex problems like debugging codes or a tricky project timeline with multiple constraints. Number 7. Now this is an institution where the tuition is free, but the lessons are brutal. We're talking about the school of hard knocks. It's that situation where we learn through real-world struggles rather than through formal education. Now it's thought to be popularised in 19th century America, where it refers to life experiences, and especially tough ones, as a form of education. Knocks symbolise hardships that teach practical survival skills. In today's world, we continue to use the school of hard knocks to describe learning through difficult times, like starting a business or learning from multiple failures. Number 6. Now this saying could be described as ignoring advice until reality intervenes. We could also say to learn the hard way. Now this saying has been rooted in general human experience rather than perhaps a single source or time frame, and the phrase reflects trial and error learning where mistakes often carry consequences. So it aligns with early educational philosophies valuing experimental learning. People continue to learn the hard way down to our day, especially when someone learns through failure, just like when someone forgets to back up those files, an error which hopefully only will ever occur once. Number 5. Now this might occur when a teenager gives better life advice than your uncle. We could say that such a person is wise beyond their years. Now the saying has long been associated with owls, where, in Greek mythology, would symbolise wisdom, particularly in areas like Athena. The phrase emerged over time to describe young individuals displaying unusually mature insight. Today, we might say that someone is wise beyond their years, particularly as a nice compliment for emotional intelligence or insight, just like a young person who can articulate complex issues clearly. Number 4. Now we will often say this after making a very avoidable mistake. We'll say that you live and learn. The proverb dates back centuries and reflects the idea that life itself is a continuous learning process. It aligns with philosophical traditions that view experience as a primary teacher. People continue to live and learn, particularly after discovering something new, often unexpectedly, like realising that that go-to shortcut doesn't actually save time. Number 3. This saying comes to mind when we observe people who make things look very easily and can be somewhat intimidating. We could refer to them as an old hand. Now the saying has nautical roots, probably dating back as early as the 18th century, where experienced sailors were also called old hands because of their seasoned skill handling ropes and sails. Old hands continue to be around to our day and can apply to any sort of discipline, and will refer to someone who's highly experienced, just like a project manager who seems to be able to identify and foresee every possible curveball. Number 2. Now, every job starts with, don't worry, you'll learn the ropes, which is code for there are probably about 400 unspoken rules that no one's actually written down. That's right, to learn the ropes means that you are learning the basics of the new role that you're embarking on. Now, the term learning the ropes goes back to sailing ships, where a new crew had to master that maze of ropes and rigging that controlled the sails. Early citations from the 1800s show that knowing the ropes was used for sailors who'd become familiar with the essential lines, and the ideas spread to other sectors and disciplines. Today, we'll use the term learn the ropes at work to show someone who's simply getting the hang of the basics, the systems, procedures that they need to do in order to survive their first 3 or 4 weeks. And finally, number 1. And this is a phrase that is often recited by those bookworms and also primary school teachers, where they'll say that knowledge is power. It's used to emphasise the value of information. Now, the phrase is attributed to philosopher Francis Bacon back in the 16th century, who argued that understanding the natural world allows humans to control and shape it, and it became a cornerstone idea of the Enlightenment. Knowledge is power continues to be told at school and other learning institutions to really emphasise the value of education and information, particularly in a changing world where we need to make constant, informed life decisions. So there you have it. From ropes to hard knocks, these phrases show how learning shapes everything that we do. Which one's your favourite? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Phrase Craze for more bite-sized pieces of knowledge.